Hi there, Smart Driver, talking to you today about why it is easier and more relaxed to take your driver's test in the winter time. And there are many reasons why you should not postpone your test until next spring. Talking about learning how to drive in the winter time, and I do encourage you to learn how to drive in the winter time so that you have a higher skill set and that you can pass your driver's test with a bit of ease, less friction with the driving examiner, and you can have a higher skill set. You'll have better mastery of the primary controls, the steering wheel, the brake, and the accelerator. So I do encourage you to take your driver's test in the wintertime. In addition to all of that, there's lots of traction. Most of the time, 90% of the time, roads are going to be clear. There's not going to be any snow and ice on them. You're only going to get snow and ice 6 or 8 times a year. Of course, it depends on where you live, obviously. If you live in North Dakota, you're probably going to get snow all the time. But for most places, here where I live right now in the interior of British Columbia, we don't have any winter-like conditions. We have rain. Same thing with Marion. There's no rain in Vancouver. There's no snow in Vancouver. There's no snow in Seattle, Washington. So it depends on where you are, whether you have snow and ice, and you have to deal with that in the wintertime. All right, videos to have a look at. As I said, Corey's put up those videos for Willie in the wintertime and learning how to drive in the wintertime. Shoulder checking. If you want to pass your driver's test, this is the most common mistake. Despite what Google will tell you, Gemini and ChatGPT, it is not rolling through stop signs. If you are rolling through stop signs on a driver's test, that's just poor driver education. That it means and tells me that you as a student did not get the proper training that you should have gotten in order to prepare for your driver's test. The number one mistake, if you have taken driver education, is not shoulder checking. So learn how to do that. Easier driving test, 5 reasons why you should take your driver's test in the wintertime. Have a look at those. And for those of you watching on the replay, I will definitely put those down in the description for you. So have a look for those. Slip it and slide and learn advanced driving techniques by learning how to drive in the wintertime. Better mastery of the steering wheel, the brake, and the accelerator. In addition to that, braking and steering become 2 separate maneuvers in the wintertime. You have to brake and slow down first, and then you have to turn and steer around the corner. And the reason for that, a locked or spinning wheel always leads. In other words, if you are on the brakes, it's slippery conditions, and the wheels lock up and they're not turning, the vehicle will continue to go straight. It will not turn, and that is deemed understeering. In other words, when you turn the steering wheel and it continues to go straight, is understeering. So steering and braking have to become 2 separate actions in the wintertime. As well, learning to drive on slippery road conditions will help you to understand traction, the contact of the tires with the road, and this will also help you to drive when it is raining and in other types of inclement weather in the wintertime. Poor visibility and light conditions, all this will help you to understand that in the wintertime. Traction, all vehicles in this day and age are 4-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive. Provide optimum traction. Anything in the last 25 years is going to be any one of those 3 different drivetrains. Unless you're driving a Mustang GT or a Camaro, or you're driving an electric vehicle, it's not likely that you're going to experience rear-wheel drive. And the reason that you don't want to be driving a rear-wheel drive in the wintertime is you're going to be experiencing a lot of oversteering. Oversteering is when you turn the steering wheel, you accelerate, and then the back end of the vehicle comes around. And pickup trucks, when not in 4-wheel drive, are susceptible to this. And there was a clip on Twitter the other day where the pickup truck comes around the corner going too fast on snow and ice and slides and, sideswipes a telephone pole. And the reason for that, curves, corners, and turns. The driver was going too fast. And the other problem with pickup trucks is the weight imbalance in the pickup trucks. All the weight is in the front, especially if it's a 4-wheel drive, because in the front you've got the transfer case, the transmission, the engine. All the weight is focused in the front of the pickup truck, and in the back of the pickup truck there's very little weight in terms of the weight ratio from front to back. And what happens when you go around a corner in a pickup truck, the back end kind of lifts up, especially if you touch the brakes at all, because most of the braking is done by the front brakes. The back end lifts up and you lose control and it starts to go sideways, because a locked or steering wheel always leads. And so know that if you are driving a pickup truck, get the thing slowed down. And there are many people who will come back to me and say for winter conditions with pickup trucks, they will put a couple 300 pounds of sandbags over the back wheels in the pickup trucks. And it was the same thing when I was a kid. My dad did the same thing. He drove pickup trucks all the time. And of course, this was the days when you had real pickup trucks, like pickup trucks, and they were 2-wheel drive. They were not 4-wheel drive. So there was always sandbags that went in over the back wheels in the winter time. Okay, don't be left out in the cold. Unlikely that you'll drive in a blizzard. As I said, if conditions are bad in the winter time, the test center, the examiner will postpone your test to another day when road conditions improve, and then they will take you out. Don't listen to the rhetoric. There are so many people out there that will say to you, oh, it's so dangerous to drive in the wintertime. You are going to die. You are taking your life in your own hands. You are fighting Satan himself. Do not drive in the wintertime. You will end up in the ditch. You will crash into a tree. You will explode in a fiery inferno. Don't drive in the wintertime. Don't listen to those people. Don't listen to the radio announcements about, oh my God, it's snowing out. We're all going to die. The world, the post-apocalypse. It's just, oh my God. It's garbage. And if you look at the actual traffic crash statistics in the United States of America, the states that don't have snow are the states with the highest crash rates. New Mexico, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas. Those are the states with the highest crash rates. It's not Minnesota, Wisconsin, Chicago, Illinois. Those are not the states that get winter. They have the lowest crash rates. So don't listen to the rhetoric out there about the fact that you will die in the wintertime if you drive. Many people drive in the wintertime and survive and live to tell the tale and the story. So get your driver's license in the wintertime. As I said, there's also less traffic. There's fewer pedestrians. Hopefully, there's not very many people on bicycles and e-scooters and those types of things. There's less traffic in the wintertime as well because the scaredy cats all stay home. You can be lackadaisical. The test is not as exact. You don't have to be 8 to 12 inches from the curb. You just have to get in behind the vehicle in front of you. You don't want to get stuck in the snowbank. For whatever reason, driving examiners do not like pushing cars out of the ditch. If something happens and you get stuck, they will just get out of the car and they'll just walk back to the DMV. I have seen them do it. I have seen them be in a car with a student. The student gets into a crash. They will get out of the car and they will walk back to the DMV. They don't want anything to do with it if you get stuck. So it is less exact. You just have to get in behind the car in front of you. You don't have to stop at the correct stopping position at stop sign intersections. You just have to come up, stop before the sidewalk, give way to any pedestrians, and then creep out until you can see. And I do say creep out until you can see and then proceed when the way is clear. Okay, you can drive a bit slower on residential streets because they're covered with snow and ice. In the wintertime, they're going to clear the main roads first. They're going to not get to the residential streets and the suburban streets until later that day or maybe even until the next day. Then they're not going to take you into the residential streets for the most part if it is snowing and icy. They're going to stick to the main roads, which will help you out. Make sure that you have good tires on your vehicle. Make sure that you have proper traction. As I said with Gavin, I didn't realize when we went out in his aunt's SUV the first time that the tires were bald. Make sure that there's good tires on the vehicle. Steel studded tires if there's hard pack or running up to the ski hill, your parents' car or whatever it is. Make sure that they're properly inflated. Most cars after 2012, I'm guessing, all have tire pressure monitoring systems. So if you have a tire that is low on air, make sure that you get it filled up, get that fixed, get that sensor fixed and whatnot. Don't have a check engine light on when you go down for your driver's test because the examiner will do a mini pre-trip on your vehicle. They're going to make sure that the lights work, the signals work, the brake lights work, the horn works, windshield wipers, washer fluid. So do a pre-trip inspection before you head down to the DMV on your vehicle and make sure everything works. Make sure that the seat on the passenger side is secure, the seat belt works. I have had students that have been denied their driver's test because the seatbelt didn't work on the passenger side. So make sure that that works. The door opens and closes from the inside and the outside. There's no chips or cracks or breaks in the windshield, the glass. And Everything's safe. Do that because you don't want to be denied your driver's test for something simple like a brake light out that you could easily fix. If you can wield a screwdriver, it's easy to fix a brake light on your vehicle. As well, make sure that your license and registration are valid. Fortunately, I've had students who've taken their parents' car and the registration or the insurance has lapsed. And of course, you can't take the vehicle out because it's not insured. Damn gum and ice, get off the brake, get off the throttle, steer the vehicle in the direction that you want to go. If you can't get traction and it's slippery, move the vehicle to the right, out of the tracks, the main ruts where everybody else is driving, and you will be able to find traction. One of the black ice videos on Twitter, where the woman bailed. She literally opened the door and threw herself out of the car as the car went off the road into the shoulder of the road. Had she stayed in the vehicle, by the time she hit the shoulder of the road, she would have got traction and she would have been able to bring the vehicle to a stop. But she hits the shoulder of the road, opens the door and bails, just gets out of the car, which was, somewhat comical. But this is what I'm saying. Don't give up. Wear your seatbelt in the wintertime so that you can control the vehicle in an emergency situation and move the vehicle to the outside of the lane to try and find traction and get your vehicle stopped. I can't see you. Okay. Windshield wipers. Have good windshield wipers on your vehicle. Make sure that you have winter washer fluid in the reservoir, minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 40 degrees Celsius. And know how to use the windshield wipers, the windshield washer fluid, activate that, the defrost and heater controls. Make sure that you know how to do those to keep the glass clear while you're driving in the wintertime. And Corey will put up the video on how to clear the ice and snow off your vehicle and how to defrost the glass on the vehicle, because you'll have to know how to do that in the wintertime. So 3 secondary controls that you absolutely must know before you head down to the DMV. Headlights, the high-low beams, know how to turn on the defrost. In the summertime, it'll be the air conditioning, and know how to turn on the windshield washer or the windshield wipers and the washer fluid. Those 3 secondary controls to pass your driver's test in the wintertime. Okay, you got to get her stopped. Drive for the conditions of the road. And many people come back to me over the years in the wintertime and ask me, well, how fast do I drive? Because obviously you can't drive the posted speed limit. The posted speed limit is under ideal traffic conditions. If it's snowing, it's slippery, there's ice on the roads, those are not ideal conditions. So therefore you must slow down. As a general rule, keep up with traffic flow. If roads are bad and snow covered and it is snowing and it's treacherous out, traffic flow is going to be slow, very slow. So for example, if it's 60-mile-an-hour highway that you're on, most of the time traffic flow will be 30 or 40 miles an hour depending on conditions of the roadway. Just go with traffic flow. But again, keep your 3 to 4 second following distance, because if you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit something. If you do begin to lose control or get your foot off the accelerator, get your foot off the brake and steer the vehicle in the direction that you want to go. Most of the time, just releasing the accelerator, you're going to regain control because the vehicle is slowing down, and in the act of slowing down, it's also going to regain traction and allow you to regain control of your vehicle. You got to do the work. Start in a parking lot on snow and ice, preferably. Then you can get a feel for the steering wheel, the accelerator, and the brake, and how that's going to react when you step on the brake pedal, when you turn the steering wheel, or you give it too much throttle and the tires begin to spin, and what that feels like on snow and ice conditions. Steer the vehicle in the direction you want to go. Get it to understeer, get it to oversteer. I believe Corey's also put the video up on learning how to drive in the wintertime. Basically, I went down and did some donuts in the parking lot. If you want to learn how to drive in the wintertime, that's going to be your best avenue of learning, is getting into a parking lot and excessive acceleration, excessive braking, excessive steering, and figuring out how the vehicle responds when you do those things when you're driving. Okay, so learn how the vehicle responds when you lose traction on a snow-covered parking lot. So in conclusion, take your driver's test in the wintertime. Don't postpone your test until next spring because you're a little bit afraid of what's going to happen when you're driving, or your parents are saying to you, oh my God, you're going to die. Your uncle and your aunt and everybody else and all the rhetoric on the radios and whatnot is all saying you're going to die in the wintertime. Many, many people have learned how to drive in the wintertime and live to tell the tale, and they have a higher skill set than those that learn how to drive in the wintertime. One technique, for example, Braking and steering. Those students that learn how to drive in the summertime get lazy. They brake and steer at the same time and they can get away with it. You can't get away with that in the wintertime. So therefore, you're going to have a higher skill set. The test in the wintertime is less exact. You can drive slower. You don't have to get 8 to 12 inches from the curb. You simply have to get in behind the vehicle in front of you. You don't have to stop at the correct stopping position at stop sign intersections. You just have to come up, stop before the sidewalk, and then creep out until you can see, and then proceed at two-way stop sign intersections. Examiners are more chill, and they're going to give you kudos for learning how to drive in the wintertime. Roads will be fine 90% of the time, and if roads are bad or there is snow and ice and it is storming, they will postpone your test. Take your driver's test in the wintertime. Cannot encourage you enough to do that and become a safer, smarter driver. Let us know down in the comments if you are going to be taking your driver's test in the wintertime. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. All the very best. Bye now.